Good evening, guys. Welcome back to the Celtic Way. We're here with the build-up to Celtic versus Aston Villa in the Champions League. And look who we have here in Birmingham at Villa Park. It's Ryan McGinley and Tony Haggerty. Pleased to see you both. I think we're just going to fire right into it before I get a bit of chat from you. Ryan, if you just want to bring us through the team that we're going to get from Celtic tonight.
Absolutely. So we've got Casper Schmeichel in goals, a back four left to right of Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty and Alistair Johnson. Cal McGregor plays in the sixth row, partnered by Rio Hatate and Arne Engels respectively. Up front, Adam Ida. On the left, Yang Hoon Jun. And on the right, Nicholas Kuhn. If you could just read out his subs, Tony, or John rather.
Yeah, I'll get the subs for you. The subs are Sinisalo, Scott Bain, Lees Palmer, Luke McCowan, Narotsky, Bernardo, Adam Montgomery, Dane Murray, Cummings and Ralston. So pretty inexperienced, mixed bench that I would suggest, but that is the nature of where Celtic are at the moment, just given the suspensions and delays and the transfer business. Ryan, first I'll get your thoughts on tonight's team. It's pretty much what we expected.
It's exactly what we expected, given the unfortunate news that Cameron Carter-Vickers was out with an injury pre-game and the suspension, which we found out is going to be 2 games for Daizen Maeda, so he missed the first leg of the playoff round. If Celtic get through to the playoff round, obviously there's still a slim chance, a minuscule chance of getting through as a top 8 team, but we're thinking it'll be the playoff round, so we'll be out of that first game in the playoff round. Apart from that, it's the team that you would have expected, to be honest. You've got Hatate and Engels in that midfield, just supporting the captain, Cal McGregor, and Yang Hoon Jun on the left. Was maybe talking about Palmer potentially playing on the left, but he's went with Yang Hoon Jun. And then, as expected, with Carter-Vickers being out, it's Liam Scales that takes his place alongside Austin Trusty. Apart from that, the team really does pick itself. Adam Ida gets the chance to shine against a team he would have played against when he was at Norwich. And yeah, it's just a massive occasion tonight. It feels like a big game. You can feel it outside. You can feel it amongst the fans as well. It's a big game. It's a battle of Britain. We're just looking to get into it, really.
And Tony, I think you're tuned into me as well. Just how are you feeling about Adam Ida tonight? It's a big night for Ida, isn't it?
It's a huge night for Adam Ida tonight, isn't it? He showed in Bergamo that he can play that striker role. All that was missing that night was maybe a finishing touch and a goal, but he's got a massive opportunity tonight to kind of cash in on the feel-good factor that he got from his involvement in the goal that took Celtic through to the playoff round. So lots of Celtic eyes and supporters' eyes will be on Adam Ida. I wouldn't say there's huge pressure on him per se, but if he can put in a good show in here, then I think everybody will feel better about themselves and hopefully he can score. I think certainly the fans will cut him some slack. I think they cut him some slack because, as I say, he was a vital, crucial component in the lead up to the goal that sent Celtic through to the playoff round. So, actually looking forward to seeing how he fares tonight, John. And just one for the romantics tonight: 2 ex-European Cup winners going head to head in a stadium that's very famous as well. 2 famous teams synonymous with this competition. So, it's Battle of Britain. Can't ask for anything more, John. Bring it on.
Yeah, certainly. Ryan, what's the atmosphere like down there? I know you've been out and about getting some comments from supporters outside the stadium. What's the feeling outside the stadium right now for Celtic supporters and Villa supporters? I think you've been speaking to.
Yeah, we've been speaking to both Aston Villa and Celtic supporters. I don't know if you can hear in the background. I can hear some Celtic fans in the background. It is getting louder and louder, and it feels as if the decibel levels have been really rising as the hours pass in, as the hours get closer and closer to the game. It feels like a big game. It is a big game, and from what I've spoke with the fans, both sets of supporters are looking forward to the contest. We're speaking to some fans that were from Dublin that support Aston Villa, but Celtic are their second team, so this is the perfect game for them to go to travel to. We've had fans that are Aston Villa fans that also have Celtic links due to the guy's father that passed away. He was originally from Scotland and moved down south. So there has been some good family ties with Aston Villa and Celtic. So many links with former players, former managers as well. You've got Martin O'Neill, who's managed both teams famously, but had good spells in both. I think good is a bit of an understatement for his time at Celtic. He had a good spell at Aston Villa too in the mid-2000s. So plenty to look forward to. It's just been a really good atmosphere. It's from what we've seen anyway. It's been the right spirit. And everybody that we spoke to thus far is just looking forward to the game and probably just want the game to be started right now.
And does it feel like there's a lot of Celtic supporters there? I know there's a couple of thousand during the stadium. Does it feel like there's a lot more than that in Birmingham? Have you seen much of that?
Yeah, very much so, John. Our fair contingent travelled down to watch Celtic today, and it's only the Celtic supporters that are making the noise just now. They're the ones that have headed into the stadium early, and they're giving it big licks at the minute. You can hear the noise. It's directly below us. We're in the kind of media gantry. We're very high up, but they're directly below us, and they're making some noise, and they're going to give their team some backing tonight. But just, I think everybody's really looking forward to it. I get that Celtic have had Brendan Rodgers, he said his hand forced a wee bit in terms of injuries and suspensions, and the bench, maybe that's a kind of, you look at that bench and you think, are Celtic as strong as we could be? Maybe that's something that we will address and have started to address in this transfer window. So, but I think everybody's just licking their lips in anticipation for this, John. It was the game A that everybody looked at. Thankfully, Celtic are through the playoff round. I don't believe in such things as a free hit, but what I do believe is Celtic can go out and express themselves and enjoy themselves tonight and show Aston Villa that they're a good team. But I tell you what, they're up against a very good team, aren't they?
I think they are. I mean, Aston Villa obviously have a lot of quality. I think if I'm looking at the team and the bench tonight, there's obvious slight concerns with that bench, but as Brendan Rodgers would say, he would say it's an opportunity for these players to go and make a name for themselves at an elite level. If Cummins is thinking about having a strong career or maybe staying at Celtic or moving on, tonight's the kind of night made for him if he gets an opportunity off the bench. I'd suggest we probably won't see Cummins, but you never know. That's the nature. If you put young kids on the bench, there's a chance that they'll get an opportunity. Ryan, what's your prediction for tonight? How do you see tonight panning out? Just not even in terms of scoreline, but just in terms of how the game goes. Do you think it'll be a rough 15-20 minutes for Celtic to begin with?
I think they're going to have to weather the storm in the first 20-25 minutes tonight, because I think Aston Villa are going to bring a storm with them. They've got so many attacking talents on display, both in the starting lineup and on the bench. They've got likes of Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins. Just look at the news stories that came out in the past hour or two. £60 million bid rejected from Arsenal for Ollie Watkins. He's a top operator. He's an England international. You've got to keep him quiet. You've got to keep the likes of John Duran quiet as well, whether they're starting or on the bench. They've got quality all over the side. But Unai Emery is such a good tactician. He can change games with both the formation and the personnel when required. He is a master in Europe. He has won European competitions for similarly sized teams, if not smaller teams than Aston Villa. He's got a really good He's got a really good setup here. He's got the sporting director Monchi, who deals with all the transfers as well, who's been with him, I believe, at Sevilla and Villarreal too. So he's got his people in, and he seems to be moulding Aston Villa into this sort of European outfit. I don't think this is the last time we'll see Aston Villa on the Champions League stage in the coming years. They are a team built to last. They've got young players coming through. They've got good academy players like Jacob Ramsey coming through, who's made his first team appearances, came back from injury. Celtic just need to weather the storm of the first 25 minutes, hit them on the counter-attack, get Nicholas Kuhn on the ball when required, get Yang on the ball when required, and express themselves when they get a chance. But they've got to be brave as well, because they are going into I don't want to bring up metaphors, but they are going into a bit of a lion's den tonight in terms of Villa Park. It's going to be a great atmosphere, but they just need to be brave and confident and express themselves.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the team again here. It's not ideal, but I do think we have talent. I think obviously Nicholas Kuhn is key in this lineup, isn't he? Because I think he's the electric spark in the attack, especially from transition from defence to attack. You're looking for Hatate and Engels to connect with Kuhn and have a real influence on that right hand side. Yang, we know that he's got limitations at the moment and perhaps doesn't quite have that final ball. Be interesting to see what he can do if he's given a bit of space tonight. And then, as we've already mentioned at the top of the show, it's time for Adam Idah to stick one of those chances away. But Callum McGregor last week, guys, one of the best players I thought against young boys. He's going to be absolutely crucial tonight again. We need Callum McGregor to have one of his best games in a Celtic jersey again.
Yeah, Callum McGregor is the metronome of the Celtic team. He makes Celtic tick. And I think, I know we've just spoken there about Aston Villa's quality. I always, at this stage, John, on this platform and stage, I think it's up to the Celtic players to prove that they're as good as the Aston Villa players. And where else can you shine? You have this magnificent competition, and I'm always of the opinion that Celtic can hold their own against anybody. Yeah, it's a tall order tonight against a very good English Premier League side who have got a fantastic manager with a brilliant European track record. But Celtic are no slouches, John, in this competition, and have shown that at various stages. And Callum McGregor's been a big part of that. He was fantastic against Bratislava. He was excellent against Bergamo, Atalanta and Bergamo, and he was magnificent against he's starting to hit a bit of form again. So I think the guys need no motivation for this, John. This is something that they'll be, willing to do and come on to a game in this stage and perform. And I think they'll just come out. It'll be a full house crowd, and that gets the juices flowing. And guys like Callum McGregor, you don't need to tell them what's at stake in terms of the England-Scotland Battle of Britain stuff. They've been here, seen it and done it all before. So I think, I think Callum McGregor is certainly one player who will rise to the occasion tonight.
And Ryan, just what's the view like from the press box there? It looks pretty nice.
It's absolutely perfect. A perfect way to be watching football. You're just looking down on it. It's an incredible stadium. It's a bit of a throwback stadium as well. It reminds me a little bit of Tynecastle, but if you were to just double the size, basically. I know Tynecastle's quite a big ground in its own right, but it just feels bigger. It feels like a Premier League team, more like a Barclays Premier League team than an English Premier League team at the moment. But I like that. I like the throwback of it. It feels like a proper game. It feels as if Celtic are playing in England. I know they're playing in England, but it feels as if they're down there. It feels like a real, a bragging rights game, even though it's a Champions League game. It's Scotland versus England. As much as you can talk about tribalism and that, it is a rivalry, and there will be that rivalry coming into the game. I think that's what makes it. Rivalries make football, and I love the whole romantic side of football. Scotland versus England, the rivalry. It just feels like a big game tonight. I know I've said that 3 or 4 times, but you can feel it in the air. You can feel it. It's a big game, and there's nowhere else that we'd rather be than at Villa Park right now, bringing it to you guys.
And how was the 5-hour car journey down with Tony in the car? Did that all go okay?
Yeah, it was good. Some questionable tunes and questionable rap tunes, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, it was a good journey down. It was pretty straightforward. We went through the toll booth as well, but it's been great. Birmingham's been great. Really friendly people, welcomed with open arms, and yeah, it's been a good trip. Thankfully, we're here. We're here in one piece. We're here at the game. We're grateful to be here. Grateful to have this opportunity while being part of the Celtic way. And yeah, hopefully the game is as good as the overall experience that we've had in Birmingham.
It seems like the locals are maybe playing you off now, Ryan. So we'll start to wrap it up. Any final thoughts from yourself or Tony just before kick-off?
Final thoughts. My final thoughts are listening to Ryan and pre-match nerves have kicked in, John, because I think this is a big game. So I believe. Yeah, my final thoughts are, I think if Celtic, as you said at the top of the programme, can weather the first 20 minutes and play themselves into the game, then I think Celtic will score. And I think I'm going to be positive, John, and I think Celtic will come away with a draw. There you go.
Oh, nice one. Ryan, match prediction, the score prediction?
I think both teams will score. I think it'll be a score draw. I think it'll be 2 each. I think Celtic will get something here. They'll be up for it. Aston Villa will be up for it. Celtic will weather the storm. They might concede, but they'll still be in the game, and I think they'll do the business tonight. I think they'll come away with something tonight, at least a point.
Well, we're going to leave it there, everyone. Short and sweet tonight. We'll let Tony and Ryan get on with it and get into their press positions to cover the game for the website. And we'll speak after the game at some point. I think if not both of you, then at least one of you, and we'll have reaction. Hopefully you're smiling on that car journey home with Tony in the morning, and hopefully everyone in the chat right now who seems to be pretty up for the game is smiling too. But until then, we'll see you later, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye.